I'm here to tell you a little story. It's not really a story, it's pretty much a nightmare. It concerns a judge, a county, and a little boy. This little boy was born December 24th, 2012. As most kids, he was born normal. He came home, he was fine. As he was growing up, he was doing the natural things that little boys do. Well, then, all hell broke loose, and the county came in and took him, my wife, and her daughter out of here. When it was all said and done, she accused me of second-degree sexual assault. They waited for over 9 months before they charged me. Went through court. They found I was innocent, but the county would not give up or return my son. There are so many wrongs in this that it can never be right. The judge, Mr. Kevin A. Lund of Olmsted County, would not allow me to see my son because of a foster mother accused me of following her, stalking her, parking outside her home at night after midnight when I work 40 miles to the other way and don't get home till after midnight. Went through court, had a trial. They call it a TPR trial, termination of parental rights. Well, the county couldn't show burden proof on anything. It should have ended at that point. But the judge didn't. He held off. Well, then it comes to another trial that was 6 months away. I had wrote some things about the case manager on Facebook, which was private, by the way, but yet between the county and the city officials, speaking of police, detectives, whatever you want to call them, invaded my privacy and copied it off and gave it to the foster mother. She walked into court with this and shoved it in front of the judge's face, not being under oath, not being able to be cross-examined with no proof at all. Just what she wanted to say on this paper. And he attacked me and told me my rights were done at that moment. Well, they reunited, tried to reunite my son with my wife. But they attacked her as well. A little story about the law has 3 things that they have to prove before they can terminate you. Well, the county didn't prove any of them on me. None whatsoever. And he went back to the first trial and used that to terminate our rights, which in a court of law he can't do. They had them people on the stand, and they testified that they talked out there and they were biased against me. They told that right to him on the stand. It's in the records. But yet he gave them another bite at the apple. He didn't allow me to see my son. In the second trial, they used everything against me, and he terminated our rights. Well, then we take it to the appellate court, and the appellate court went after the county, and they admitted to doing wrong and not doing the job they were supposed to do. I thought the county was supposed to help families, not tear them apart. This judge did not allow my family to see my son. In the first trial, an order was asked that my son was allowed to see my great-grandmother. It was her last dying wish. And the woman only had days. The case manager, by the name of Becky or Rebecca Springer, said there was no problem. But as soon as she walked out of that courtroom, she made it a problem. Well, needless to say, my grandmother passed away and did not see my son. When we went back to court, the judge knew this, was told this, and he did nothing to reprimand the county. Now, we get down to the brass tacks. They wanted to take him, eliminate her, so we had to have another trial. When we went back to court, they had nothing on me. They hadn't spoken to me for 6 months or allowed me to see my son. He told them that they were going to do a test. It's called the MIM test. Well, the woman that they hired was from out of Mankato by the name of Barb Carlson. She was a bought and paid for employee by Olmsted County Social Service. And when she came, she didn't do anything but sit and talk on her phone. They did this in an hour session, back to back. And we had a specialist come in and say, no, at best it was inadequate. But yet, they terminated our rights. They couldn't prove anything. They accused me all along of beating up my son. They took him to an advocate center at Mayo Clinic, x-rayed him, tissue x-rayed him, everything. But yet they couldn't find nothing. They had all his medical records. This boy had an issue holding down his food when he was born. He was breastfed. Well, all of a sudden, now he's not being taken care of. And they accused us of failing to take care of him. We have records of him being at the doctor's office 2 or 3 times a week to figure out what was going on. All of a sudden, now, they're ganging up on us because they lost the first trial. They can't take defeat. And they'll lie and do whatever they can. This case manager, Becky Springer, was asked straight out by me. My lawyer told me to ask her what she wanted me to do, to write it down, to make it simple so that we both understood it. Her reply was she couldn't do that because her lawyer was on vacation. And when does a lawyer tell a case manager to tell a client what to do? She lied. She wouldn't do her job. Well, after the first trial, she was moved out immediately into an advocate. She was no longer a case manager. Then it was stepped over to a Chad Ellis. And he's the same person, cut out of the same cloth. He was called many times to see my son, and he denied me. In the last trial, the judge said, well, I think Mr. Hoffman should be able to see his son, but I'm not going to make an order of it. I'm going to leave that up to the county. Well, I called him afterwards, and the county, Mr. Chad Ellis, said, since the judge didn't make the order, he was not going to allow me to see my son. Well, it just so happened my dad was sick. He was also in the hospital. My lawyers called, I called, they would not respond so he could see his grandson at the last dying wish. And they never replied. Well, his grandfather died. And the judge knew it and did nothing. This guy's a fucking idiot. This is the kind of people that are on the bench. We go to the appellate court. They scream at the county for not doing their job. They admitted for not doing their job. But since these appellate court judges came to our county, to our courtroom, We all know they sit in the same break room and talk. Well, these judges couldn't find anything to terminate my rights, so they made one up. They said I neglected him when he was in foster care. Now you tell me why anybody would call somebody that accused them every week of parking outside their house, stalking them, following them around. Why would you put yourself in a position to call and talk to that person? So they terminated my rights. My lawyer does not believe that the appellate court went this far. He said they didn't want to step on Mr. Lund's toes. Well, Mr. Lund is not a judge. He's more concerned about old buildings in this town than he is the justice system. And they took my son. And I haven't seen him for over a year. Well, we went to the Supreme Court. We filed, well, guess what? The county filed within 8 days. They denied a hearing, a review. They never even looked at the file. My lawyer says they couldn't have. Nothing happens that quick in the court system. Now, there's no justice in this country at all. And I'm left with no family, a son that I miss every day, that I cannot stop thinking about. They conned my wife into divorcing me, promising her things that they would never give, that would never happen. And I want to know if there's anybody out there who can help. Because my lawyer says we've exhausted all our options. And I believe Mr. Lund ruined them options by sitting in the same break room, giving his opinion and telling the appellate court to rule against us. He's not a fair man. He's not a just man. They call him wishy-washy. He'll tell you one thing, and the next time you see him, he's totally on the other end of the grid. Now, what's a person supposed to do to get justice in this country? My whole life excited in that boy. Everything I've done for that kid. Now I work and come home and sit. And all I do is think about my son. This county is unbelievable. There's been many people say they've got their hand in the cookie jar. And the turnover out there is phenomenal. The lawyers are all saying it. In all the counties around here. But yet nobody's doing anything about it. I want to know if anybody knows anything that can help. When you're gifted an angel like that boy was to me, and somebody takes it away, they've ruined your whole life. Now my ex-wife is in the same position. Every time she sees a little boy, she cries. And I don't understand what justice is in this country. There is no justice. This county gives kids back to their parents that drink and do drugs. And we didn't do either one. But yet we're being punished because they didn't like me. And they know I don't like them. So please, anybody, if you know anything that can help get my son back and destroy this county and these people, put them in the position that they should be in, is without a job and a record. Because this is not right. They've destroyed my whole family. This judge wouldn't even allow his own family to see him. They have a family group gathering, they call it. So if we can't get him back, they decide where he goes. And family should always be first, and it states in the law. If a family member can take him, that's where he's supposed to go. But these people, and the very first one, had on top of the document that their preference, and they wanted him, my son, to go to the foster parents. Before it even started, that was their recommendation. They never even thought about helping this family or my son going to my family or her family. Now, where's the justice? And where's the people that help? This county is not working. And it's rumored that they get a bonus if they adopt a kid out. And I've heard it comes out of your Social Security account. I think something needs to be done about this Child Protection Service. They've got more power than they deserve. They don't know how to handle it. My son is paying the price. I'm paying the price. My ex-wife's paying the price. My whole family, her family, is paying the price because this county thinks that they're a god. And this judge sat on the stand and said he was God. Now, where do I go from here? Do I go out and buy a gun to make a point? Start killing them? No, because then I would never see my son. It's ridiculous what this county can do and get away with it, and what this judge does and gets away with it, and nobody steps up to the plate. I hope this goes viral. I'm sure it won't. They call me an asshole. They call me a monster. They call me a predator, when they're actually the predators and the monsters. Social service is about helping families, not tearing them up. Not in this county. They want to tear them down. They want to destroy everybody's life. And that's just what they've done. So, take care of your children. Stay out of this county and do not work with social service, because they will harm you in the end. My name is Troy Hoffman, and I live in Rochester, Minnesota. Feel free to send me a letter or email me at hoffmantroy1.outlook.com. I hope somebody can help and spread the word about the injustice in this country. I'd notify Mr. Trump, which I voted for, because I figured he's somebody that could do something in this country to turn it around. But I'm sure with all the people and all the things he's got going on, he would never even see the letter. My life has been destroyed, and everything I've worked for has been taken away. They make you do things that cost you money, and you never get it back. This judge was told a law that the county is supposed to pay for a specialist for a child involved, but no, he did not. He made us pay it. And the appellate court said he's going to have to make the county refund us. He did so many things wrong. They did so many things wrong, but yet the appellate court will not want to step on his toes. So who's paying the price? My son. My son was a daddy's boy. And I'm lost. And I'm very bitter. And I get more bitter every day. I don't have friend one anymore. Because all I can think about is this case and my son. And the wrongdoing these people did. Now please, I need some help from somebody. I've never asked for help, but I'm asking now. Thank you for your time.